One of them wanted to be the security guy. He claimed he was a security guy.
Welcome to a 420 unfriendly version of Security Guy Radio. I will explain in a minute, Mr. Jarvis. I know I surprised you with that, didn't I? You can laugh.
You got me.
It's okay to laugh on Security Guy Radio. I will explain in one moment. So I'm working on my what do you call that? The media package last night, right? Mm-hmm. And I go, what's that weird smell? And I'm all of a sudden my office, which is behind my garage, is kind of like there's smoke in my office, and I'm going, what? Well, my neighbor's back there, smoking marijuana,
right.
And this huge cloud is like covering up my whole office, and I'm going, I gotta get out of here. I can't be high for the show. I've never tried a drug in my life. That's absolutely true. And I thought, well, that's just really bizarre because it just so happens today that our guest is from a company called SmokeCloak, all right, DNA, and we're going to talk about how the 420 unfriendly topic ties into this right away. Okay. All right? Okay. See how I always have these life experiences that tie together?
To tie in, right.
It's bizarre, isn't it? So I want to welcome our guest, Mr. Douglas White of SmokeCloak DNA. Welcome, Douglas.
Thank you.
All right. Now, that's a true story, Doug. And as I knew you were coming on today, I started laughing because we're going to talk about how your product is actually used in the 420 business, among other businesses as well. And when I saw this, I thought, what a brilliant idea. But it's a brilliant idea that's been around quite a while. So, Doug, tell us what you do for for SmokeCloak and what exactly SmokeCloak is.
Well, I just at the beginning of this year started with SmokeCloak DNA. I am the Northeast America regional sales rep.
All right. And what does SmokeCloak do?
Well, let me give you a little background. I actually am a Popular Science magazine fan. And last year I saw the SmokeCloak DNA in that magazine. It had won the Innovation of the Year award for 2014, one of the 100 companies that won that. And I was intrigued by what a SmokeCloak was. I had never heard of it before. And it basically is a forensic fog. It's like a theatrical fog machine. It uses propylene glycol, which is the same thing that they use in e-cigarettes. And they developed it into a security product. It's been used in Europe for over 20 years, was developed in the 80s and early 90s, and has been all over the globe. It's sold in 50 countries. And just in the last couple of years, what was unique to this is the inclusion of the DNA enhancement. The company in New York, Applied DNA Sciences, hooked up with SmokeCloak, and they developed a way to put this DNA marker into the security fog so that when the unit is activated, we actually can tag the intruder and anything that he's stolen with a site-specific DNA. With the machine has that DNA coded to it, and we can identify someone when they've actually been through the fog. It gets on their clothes, it gets in their hair, doesn't really wash off very easily, and we can identify someone that has breached, say a commercial jewelry store or a grocery store or a pawn shop. There's all kinds of places that we use the security fog.
Now, my sister Janice is in Portland is now scratching her head saying, Charlie, what are you talking about? I don't quite understand. So we just so happen to have a video. Let's play that video that kind of this is basically a burglar alarm that fills up the room with smoke and covers the burglar in DNA. And he really can't get out of the building very quickly or easily because he can't see. It's really brilliant. Take a look at this video here. Well, as a better say, brilliant. Jarvis, is that cool? It's awesome, right?
Very awesome.
You got to watch the YouTube video if you're on the podcast now. Go to YouTube and look this up. You can go to their direct site, SmokeCloak DNA, and look it up, or follow it on Security Guy Radio. But what we were watching in that video was applications in retail, warehouses, pharmacies, public places. This smoke deploys very quickly and very densely. And from what I could tell, Doug, correct me if I'm wrong, you can't see, a foot in front of your face with that once that smoke is deployed. Is that correct?
Correct. And what you said was the intruder can't get out. What we want to do is we want to keep the intruder from getting in. When he breaches the door, the alarm goes off. He hears the alarm. Normally it wouldn't faze him. Thieves come in, they break into places, and they hear the alarm. They know they got a couple of minutes before the police come. So what we want them to do is scare them, and they turn around and run away. So
excellent point.
We want to protect the property. That's the first thing. We want to prevent that crime from actually happening. And if they're lucky enough to get that forensic fog on them, now they're marked with DNA. If the police are lucky enough to catch them, they can actually do a standard DNA swab, send it to Applied DNA Sciences, and identify that person at that location at that time, and anything that he's stolen has that DNA on him too.
Yeah, I misspoke on that. I was thinking you're walking through a building and you trip off a sensor somewhere and then it goes off. But no, you can rig it any way you want it to. And if you open up the door, before you get inside that door, that room's going to be pretty much full of smoke and you can't even see what you're trying to steal. You literally cannot see a foot in front of your face. It's just very dense. Now, I think we did discuss that sometimes it does happen where somebody might get trapped behind that for whatever reason. And then it's easy to clear, correct? Tell me how let's say the cops show up and they want to make sure that nobody's in there. There's some dum-dum didn't go inside.
Right.
How fast do you clear? It says that smoke clear out.
Within a minute or two, the fog, if you've ever seen anyone smoke an e-cigarette, you can see that fog stays in suspension. It doesn't settle out.
Right.
So very quickly, almost as fast as it fills the room, we can evacuate just as fast by opening a couple of doors, a couple of windows, and letting it air out.
Now, this has been around for about 20 years, and
Correct.
I think we discussed it was developed in the United States, and then somehow it got bought and got transferred overseas. Why did it take so long to get back to the U.S.? It's fairly new in the U.S., correct?
Absolutely. Paul Dodds actually invented in 1992, and he developed it because he was broken into a number of times and realized that he could take a fog machine like they use in theater and develop it to be a security device. It was bought by a Danish company sometime in the around 2001 and developed we are sold over 50 countries right now. So the market in the U.S. has only been developed over the last couple of years, and increasingly now with the DNA component, we are opening up the U.S.
So let's talk about the DNA. It's vegetable-based DNA. Is that correct?
Correct. It is a plant-based DNA.
Plant-based DNA. And if it gets on your clothes or gets on your skin, what's the shelf life, so to speak, on that?
Well, weeks. Actually, It can last through showers and washings and still show up. Generally, it's not the DNA that is so important. It really is the security fog, that burst of fog scaring the intruder away. We kind of use the DNA as an arm twisting to say to someone that's been caught, you've got DNA all over you. We can prove
right.
that. But primarily, it's the fear factor, the scare factor that fog going off makes someone turn around and leave as quickly as they came in.
So give me some applications where it's being used in Europe extensively. We have pharmacies, things like that?
Pharmacies, banks, grocery stores, pawn shops, liquor stores. There probably are very few applications where we don't see a smoke cloak, but the main market are commercial applications, and generally during that time when it's in an unoccupied space.
I'm just going to ask you. You said bank, but that's going to be in a burglary situation where the business is closed and nobody's in it usually, right?
Correct.
Now, has anybody ever used it for a robbery type of alarm? In other words, somebody comes in, you push a button, and now somebody's trying to rob the grocery store, but what robbery means by force or fear in person, right?
Yeah, as a panic situation.
Yeah, in a panic. Has it been used in that?
You sure could. Yep, absolutely.
Any examples of how that's used currently, or is it just really more for after hours kind of stuff?
We like to promote it as an in and unoccupied space, but yes, you could set it up in a grocery store so that it was tied to a panic alarm and train the employees what to do when they set that off. Set it on a slight delay maybe, but yeah, absolutely.
Now, here's the 420 tie-in. This is becoming popular, Jarvis, in case you ever think of burglarizing a 420, which I know you wouldn't, right?
All right.
But it's being used in those applications because those places get hit all the time.
Really?
Especially in LA. I turned down a couple jobs when I had the guard company for this because the business in LA anyway, there's robberies and money and lots of guns. It's just, it's quote legal, but it has that element. So, Doug, what are the inroads being made here with the marijuana business? Because boy, what a good application that is for a place like that gets hit all the time.
Absolutely. We've tied in with a couple of the major players in cannabis security companies on the West Coast, and they're promoting it through their network of both physical security and electronic security customers. Yep.
Is there any other product like this? I've never seen one.
We have competition in Europe. Yeah,
oh, really?
There are other SmokeCloak type machines. But we are the only one in the U.S., and we're the only one with that applied DNA sciences DNA component to it.
Now, let's talk about the legal stuff, right? Because in California, especially, and the rest of the United States, we tend to be lawsuit concentric.
Litigious, yeah.
Excuse me. So are there state regulations on these sort of things? Have you come across obstacles where we say, no, you can't use it here in this application, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, we have run into police chiefs and fire chiefs who initially say, we're a little afraid of egress problems. Once they understand how valuable the SmokeCloak machine is in preventing crime and actually helping them to prosecute crime, they usually come around. I remind the fire chiefs that their fire students are trained, all their volunteers and their professionals are trained usually with a SmokeCloak type device. SmokeCloak actually makes fire training equipment, so they're well aware how to work in a situation where the SmokeCloak has been deployed.
Give me some maybe examples of some success stories you've heard about. Like they thwarted some break-ins or caught guys with the DNA or something like that.
Yeah, well, in Europe primarily, we've got a guy in Canada who actually is the North American national distributor, and I'd like to bring him on your show because he's got some great stories to tell.
Okay, we can't do it right this second, but we'll get that later. What other products does the SmokeCloak make? You mentioned that they have some fire training equipment, so they've been in this space a long time in a different way.
They have. Well, in addition to the SmokeCloak, that's our primary. We've got 4 different size SmokeCloak machines, ranging from a small one that'll do between 500 and 700 square feet to the large one, which protects about 2,200 square feet. And then we have the 4 models of fire training facilities. One is a battery-powered portable one, and all the way up to ones that'll do a 4-story building.
Wow. Now, talk about a portable unit. What will we use a portable unit for?
Well, that's used for fire training. They may take one into a small crawl space or a very confined area and learn how to operate within those conditions with a small unit that, you might not want to have an extension cord, so it's battery powered. Gives you that flexibility.
Yeah. Now, you've seen, in civil unrest, you see smoke bombs and such being deployed, right? And, the problem with those is they get hot They're a projectile. They can start fires and such like this. Has anybody ever thought about using these type of devices for crowd control? I mean, if you can do 2,000 square feet in a couple of seconds, or up to the large one you said, that's a big deal, right? I mean, that would be effective.
I'll take that up to the boss. I think that's a great idea. What's nice about forensic fog is that it's propylene glycol, which is completely harmless.
Right.
So there's no danger of, hurting someone with it. It's, inert.
So anything in the pipeline? Any new products you guys are thinking of?
Yeah, actually, we've got some interesting things coming along, and I'd love to save that for another show because we're in beta testing right now, but I think you'll be very happy with the new product that's coming out. That's actually going to change the whole security industry, I believe.
Oh, really? That's very intriguing, isn't it, Jarvis?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
very intriguing. Right. People say those things to Security Guy Radio, but they have to deliver.
Right.
We call them on it, don't we? All right. So where can we find, besides the website, do you guys go out to the trade shows and do you demo this stuff at places, or?
Yeah, we're actually just starting to do that now. My primary market is through security alarm companies because it's a natural. They pick it right up. They have a client base and can sell it that way. We are actually speaking at the in Boston over the weekend. We're going to be at the Northeast Cannabis Convention, and on Saturday we'll be speaking there, and on Sunday we're in a roundtable discussion. So yeah, you'll be seeing us at the trade shows.
And on Monday you'll be asleep.
And I'll be asleep.
I suppose. I want to ask you about residential. I would love to get one of these for my house. I mean, of course I'm crazy, right? But I don't have a big house, but that seems like a good idea. Have people been approached with residential applications?
They have, and that is the new product that's coming up that I can't say much about right now, but it's geared toward.
But you just did.
It's geared perfectly to the application you're talking about.
All right. Yep. See, Jarvis, another exclusive here. I cracked the code. I cracked it. All right, Doug, this has been really, really interesting. I think this is one of the most innovative products I've seen. And I just got back from ISC West. We saw a lot of really good products out there. This one's very different. It's very unique. Let's talk about pricing real quick. You don't have to give me quotes, but is this something that's economical? There's some things that cost $1 million. This is not that type of product. Is it just based on here's the product, you buy it, you install it, is there any monthly maintenance fees, anything like that?
No, that's the beauty of it. For about $2,500, we have a small unit that I said will do 500 to 700 square feet. The largest one is called a Valley 20. That's about $4,600 retail, and that can handle 2,200 square feet. There really are no other things that you need to worry about buying except that fluid. If you use it a lot, if it's they're more for the training, for the fire training, they will buy that forensic fluid. But other than that, no, there's no monthly maintenance fee with it.
So if this thing gets discharged in my warehouse or my store, does it empty the canister completely? Is that the idea?
It doesn't. No, I actually ran a test to see how it would affect tomato plants. And I used a 30-minute fire-off period for 100% opacity in a greenhouse, and it lasted over a month of firing that thing off every day for 30 minutes.
Oh, really? Oh, that's very fascinating. Okay,
lasts quite a long time.
But let's say I have a lot of burglaries. Well, with this device, it would be burglary attempts, right?
Yeah, correct.
What's it going to cost me to do I have to refill the unit, or I have to buy a new unit?
No, you have to. It comes in a liter. You buy a liter of the forensic fog fluid. The DNA component is an add-on for the fire training, but we put it in to all our SmokeCloak DNA machines.
And then you work with the DNA lab. Mention that lab again.
Yeah, it's Applied DNA Sciences, publicly traded in New York. And they are exclusive. We have an exclusive with them to provide both the DNA component for the fog fluid, and they do our testing as well.
So just as a matter of legal overview, the cops have a burglar alarm, and they roll up, and the smoke's coming out of your pharmacy, and here's some guy walking down the street, and some witness says, hey, I saw that guy near the place. They stop him for probable cause. They detain him. They're going to do some swabs. They're going to collect evidence in the legal way they do for police evidence, and then they're going to mail it to the lab. Is that the idea?
Yeah, they mail it right to DNA, right to Applied DNA Sciences. They do a conventional DNA test, and we actually mail it with that card that you saw on the wall. It's called Silent Witness Card.
Right.
That actually picks up the forensic log in that room, and they compare the two. They compare that Silent Witness Card to the DNA that came off of the perpetrator, and they can match that up, and it's a legal match.
Is the DNA unique for your particular building or region, let's say?
Exactly. It's for each bottle of fluid that goes in the machine.
Oh, that's interesting.
So got its own signature.
Yeah, that's important because the guy would argue he was in another marijuana clinic and this thing went off, and it wasn't his he was breaking into. It wasn't yours, So that's a good point.
It is good.
Yeah.
Doug, this has been really, really fascinating. I really like this product. I wish you luck, and we can have your other guy come on and tell some more stories about it. I think what we'll do is we'll close with the video maybe, huh? You think? We can see play the video one more time. Doug, give us your website first and how we get a hold of you.
It's www.smokecloakdna.com, and you can reach me at douglas.white@smokecloakdna.com.
Excellent. All right, you get back to me with this with your other rep, and we'll do some more on the show. Thanks for coming on the show, Doug, and we're going to close it out.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much, Doug.
Thank you. We'll close it out with playing that video one more time, Jarvis. Thanks.